Bronson-Mulholland house may look like something from Gone with the Wind, but the owners were anything but Scarlett O'Hara types. The Bronsons, who built the house and moved in 1854, were from New York State and abolitionists opposed to slavery. During the Civil War, the house apparently was used by Confederates to watch Union movement on the St. Johns River, and then repeatedly used by Union troops until the war's end in 1865. Charlotte Henry, who took it over after the Civil War, ran a Freedmen's Bureau school for freed slaves here. Charlotte would later buy the house and marry Nathaniel White from Michigan, and this would become their winter home. Mary Mulholland, a nurse from Boston who took care of Mr. White and became a friend and confidant to Charlotte, inherited the house in 1904 and turned it into an upscale boarding house. Mary Mulholland, in turn, would leave the house to her ward, Eldemiro Rivero, a Cuban who was orphaned during the Spanish-American War and whose sister for a time was a housekeeper for Miss Mulholland. After World War II, Dell, as she was called, sold the house to a couple who turned it into a rooming house. It was the first of several sales as the house began a downward slide. By the 1960s, the house was in severe disrepair, and the city of Palatka bought it for back taxes with plans to tear it down. They wanted to put in a park, but the people of Putnam County wanted to see the house remain. The Putnam County Historical Society reformed to make that happen, and legislators and a federal block grant helped make the dream become a reality. Today, the city owns the house, and the Historical Society owns the furniture and contents. The society helps maintain the house and conducts tours and provides historic programs open to the public. A house, like a person, grows and changes. This one owes its birth to a pair of New York State residents, Isaac and Sophronia Bronson. Construction on it began in 1853 and was finished in 1854. They named it Sunny Point and built on the St. Johns River here in Palatka. Judge Bronson had been a congressman and first introduced the legislation in the U.S. Congress to make Florida a state. The judge opposed slavery, and as far as we know, no slaves were used to build the house and no slaves worked here. One reason for the durability of the house is because it's built of native cypress. Much of the original cypress remains, and the wide planks on most of the floors, upstairs and down, are original. The house is what's known as Greek Revival architecture, and this is considered one of the finest examples of that style in Northeast Florida. The ceilings downstairs are 12.5 feet and 10.5 feet upstairs. Even in the attic, the ceilings are 7 feet high. Those high ceilings help make the house habitable in the summer, and the fireplaces in each room give off heat for the winter. When the Bronsons built the house originally, it was an L shape with 3 rooms on the bottom and 3 rooms on the second floor plus the attic. The house, which was empty when the Civil War began, took some rough treatment from troops housed there. When Charlotte Henry came to start her school, she found soldiers' names and some rude words on the massive sliding doors separating the front parlor from the back. After Charlotte Henry married Nathaniel White, they did more construction on the house, including adding on rooms to the back to square up the house. The 2-story addition includes rounded, concave, convex fireplaces. They also added a kitchen inside. Previously, that had been housed in a separate building. Including the porches, the Bronson-Mulholland house is more than 9,000 square feet. It is listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
Judge Bronson had pocket doors installed. This would allow the room to close off completely, allowing him to have legal business in the front parlor and separating it from the back dining room. This would then transform the room into 2 separate rooms from the one you currently see. Charlotte Henry married Nathaniel White, and when they occupied the house, Mr. White built this beautiful concave convex fireplace. During the time, this would not have been here. It would have been completely open from the front door all the way through to see the splendor of the unique fireplace. The staircase you see would have been the staircase used during that time period. And no, it is not the servants' staircase. As we enter into the master bedroom, this would have actually been the master bedroom during the entire existence of the home. If you joined us during our morning session, there would be a hair wreath that the ladies would have put together from someone that they were mourning. As you look here, during the time of the 1800s, there were outhouses. And during those cold nights, people would not want to go all the way outside to use the restroom, so they would use this. This is the indoor plumbing of the 1800s. Mr. Bronson would have also been taxed on how many bedrooms he had. Bedroom would be considered a room with a closet. During that time, these would have been closets. These are called armoires. And as you can tell in this closet, we have a lovely alligator purse. In the South, alligator would have been a hot commodity. As you can tell, this alligator purse still has the paws of the alligator. As you look to the light here, this would have been original during Judge Bronson's time. The furniture is original to the home. It was donated back by the Rivera family. As we pass into this room, this would have been the upstairs landing. The wall to my right would not have existed. It would have been opened up for a straight view to our porch. Mr. White later closed in this room and made it a dressing room for his wife. Plumbing was not installed until the late 1800s. The fixtures you see in the bathroom are actually from 1905.
This was Miss Mulholland's room. She actually slept downstairs, but she rented this room out. She was a nurse from Boston, and she was friends with the Whites. There is a picture of her right here in her younger age. And this picture right here is a painting of right before when she passed away. This is a picture of Del Rivera. She was born in Cuba. Del and her sister escaped from Cuba and came into America during the Spanish-American War, and while Miss Mulholland took them in. Miss Mulholland made sure that Del had a high school and a college education. Miss Del inherited the house.
This room is decorated in furniture that belonged to Del Rivera. Miss Dell and her sister actually lived in the attic because this room would have been rented to tourists when the house was let to boarders.
This would be the Ladies Parlor. During the 1800s, ladies and gentlemen, after dinner, would converse in separate rooms. This room has bent wood and wicker furniture throughout.
This is my favorite light.
This is the Aladdin light. This light is a lithopane light. You cannot see the design in the top unless the light is on. This chair would be a fold-up chair, a lawn chair, known to us now.
This chair right here is something you will never expect. This chair is called the chamber chair. When people at night, they would use this chair instead of going outside in the cold weather to the outhouse. So, how to use this is that the seat would flip up and there would be a pot under it and you would use the restroom as a normal chair. As you can see, by flipping it, it would be in the front, and then there would always be a pot under it. And you would use the restroom just like a normal bath.